Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's me, Sherwin Afable, and welcome to my story, Cascade, Computer Programming in Middle and High School, How to Give Our Kids a Leg Up in the World of Tomorrow. The future is now. So the first paragraph, I talk about how computers and technology in general permeate through all aspects of our lives. And in order to give kids, kind of prepare them for the future where technology is going to be so prevalent, we should teach them how to understand that. And by teaching them computer programming, we can do just that. Second paragraph talks about how um, one of the big topics of discussion about the future of public education is how to incorporate computer programming and other STEM related subjects into schools, curriculum across the country. And there are like tangible benefits to teaching kids computer programming, especially in little kids. Um, there's like a stat right here. Children exposed to computer programming training performed over 50% better than kids who did not expose that training or were exposed to that training in logic puzzles and tests in mathematical reasoning. And even though there are these like benefits that have been measured to computer programming um, in kids, schools are still trying to figure out how best to expose kids to computer programming in general. And the answer is middle and high schools. I talk about how middle and high school levels of education are probably the best time to start teaching kids how to computer program because by middle and high school they should be able to like read, write, and basic math stuff that they would know. Really helps in accelerating the process of teaching kids, and it just seems like a very flexible time frame for kids. Um, One argument that some people would have in introducing computer programming in elementary schools is that it would allow children at a very young age to become familiar with the material, with the content, and become more comfortable as they grow. Or it helps to instill some of that like logical reasoning that was kind of mentioned in the upper part of the story cascade. But there's a statistic from the Wisconsin Department of Public Institution where 1 in 6 kids in middle school and 1 in 5 kids entering high school are reading below their grade level. And while that doesn't seem like a lot, if you take it into context of like classrooms, like our class has like 20, 25-ish kids, that means approximately like 5 of us, this is just a statistical estimate, would be reading at upon entering high school, we would have been reading at a level that was below what we were intended to be at, which is kind of like it feels like a lot more in practice than it does. And I just think that um, if there are some kids who instead of trying to be taught computer programming need to be taught uh, more of the basics, and that by introducing computer programming, sometimes we can take away from kids who need the extra help to kind of understand the basics. And so we should focus on getting them caught up before we introduce more complex things such as computer programming. Um, Not only that, but at middle and high school, this is where kids are really kind of like blossoming and becoming who they want to be. And sometimes it's hard if you're not someone into just fine arts or sports for you to be involved in something in school that's not like directly a part of school. And so, um, after school computer programming clubs, I think, is the best way to allow kids to be exposed to it, especially by providing something that's not within fine arts or sports. Gives kids more options to discover and to explore things that they might be interested in. Um, Myers, this lady, she understood from a young age the need for kids to be able to choose and to explore things that they are interested in. Um, yeah. Uh, After school programming activities can give kids the chance to pursue topics of interest to them without detracting from subjects in school. So, because it's after school, we don't have to worry about it interfering with other curriculum, and it really does become something that kids can choose to explore um, on their own, which I think is like really important, especially with something that you can explore your like creativity or your freedom in a way that computer programming does. Here I talk about how my friend Will, uh, in the after school computer programming club that we had at Everett High School, he spent his time making an app for a local business. I think it was like Major League Pizza or something like that. He made a business app, and he put that on his resume for the computer science program at UW, and he was able to get in. So I think it's really important that kids have time to explore things the way they want to without having to be caught up with like um, learning requirements if they were to take a class instead. Um, Low risk, high reward. It doesn't take much to get kids interested in computer programming. All they need is that tiny spark of inspiration to get them on the right path. Um, yeah, by providing after school computer programming clubs are low risk in that, especially they're very low risk in high school if the school already has a computer programming class or teacher, then there's really not much else that needs to happen besides, I mean, there's a small time investment for the teacher and for the students after school to be present in those clubs to participate. But outside of that, it wouldn't necessarily cost any extra money or or any more time commitment like to help kids get caught up because kids are just exploring during club time. And so here is a video kind of talking about how easy it is to kind of get into computer programming and how big of a difference it ends up being. Yeah, I mean, it really does not take very much to get people inspired to want to pursue computer programming, maybe as a career, maybe as a hobby. There's just a lot of flexibility in that. Uh, Quote from the quote from the beginning of the video. Everybody in this country should learn how to program a computer because it teaches you how to think. I think that's very important, especially because of how technologically or our mindsets uh, in this present day and probably going into the future are very surrounded by technology and being connected to our devices, which is not a bad thing. Makes things very convenient. But yeah, everything we do in our daily lives is attached to computers or technology in some form or another. And giving the kids the opportunities in middle and high school to explore that world of computer programming um, allows the kids of today to become the foundation builders of the technological world of tomorrow. Um, if you like the video, smash that like button, subscribe if you want more computer programming in middle and high school related content, and thank you very much.